The horror genre is one of my favorites to look at, because I feel like I've really seen the genre evolve and change over my lifetime. And as I've grown up and seen the horror genre evolve, I've seen it go from cheap and corny slashers with no substance as a long-lasting, impactful film, to smart and creatively unhinged horror that is very interesting to look at. And with this recent boom in unique horror movies like Nope, Bones and All, and the X and Pearl series. So when did this shift from corny to classic happen in the horror genre? Well, I attribute it to this guy. Doesn't look familiar? Well, then let me show you the two films he's made. Hopefully now I've got your attention. Ari Aster, an American director, screenwriter, and producer that specializes in horror. He's of course most known for writing and directing the Tomb horror movie Hereditary and Midsommar, but he even has some pretty insane short films that are up on YouTube if you want to check them out, but I do warn you, watch at your own risk. So why all this talk about Ari Aster? Well, I think he has redefined the horror genre forever. One definite thing about Ari Aster's films is that he likes to play on emotional terror, with his films provoking real and genuine fear into an audience, in a creative, thoughtful way, of course. What I find so fascinating about these two films is how different they are, with Hereditary being dark, claustrophobic, and isolating, while on the other hand, Midsommar is light, open, and trapped. There's so much risk-taking in these films that hasn't been in the horror genre in forever, with experimental tracking shots, elaborate costuming, and horror taking place where you least expect it. So we know that Ari Aster wrote Hereditary and Midsommar. Usually the format I've seen in horror movies throughout the early 2000s and 2010s is this. Spring beginning, something scary happens, everything scary happens, then boom, movie over. Neither Hereditary or Midsommar follow this format, and they're both engaging films from start to finish, with every little detail turning out to be important later on in the story. Ari Aster as a filmmaker is very careful, with every shot, every line of dialogue. Everything on screen either symbolizes something or foreshadows something that's later to come in the film. Ari Aster focuses the topics of his films on something you wouldn't even think to be afraid of, but you are after watching the film, which is why these films are so known for their genuinely terrifying narratives and traumatizing situations. As an audience, we've really seen this sort of twisted horror come into favor recently in cinemas. Even only looking at 2022 of last year, you can see how much the horror genre has already changed and evolved, and gotten better. And I believe all of this is because of the brilliant work of Ari Aster.